Good morning, YouTube. This is Amy's Bro, and for this video, well, today is the 20th, make sure I have that right, of December 2013, and while this is not a year in review, it kind of is, because we're going to be talking about the music industry. And how in my opinion, we're starting to see a drastic shift as far as the music scene. A friend of mine said on Skype, and I was actually out for my walk when he posted this, one of the things he wants for his 23rd birthday is a revival of the American music scene, along with a couple other things like an Eagles Super Bowl and an MJ jersey. I think we know like an MJ jersey actually, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, and I have stated many a time that I believe we need one because it severely had crashed for a good number of years. Maybe that's just the old fogey in me, but let's be realistic. If you look as you get older, a lot of the artists that are coming out now, would you really listen to them? Your appeal starts to go elsewhere. For me, it went to the Land of the Rising Sun and elsewhere overseas. Now, two artists recently, well, one more recently than the other, got mainstream publicity on our on our news outlets. One was ABC's World News Tonight, and one was CNN. The one on ABC was a musician who is the drummer and leader of X Japan. His name is Yoshiki, who recently came out with one of the best classical albums. Granted, it's the only one I've ever listened to, but one of the best CDs I think I've listened to in a very long time. In a very, very long time. I've listened to a couple of good ones over the course of this year, but this one blew me away. And that was Yoshiki's Classical. Available for MP3 download. Excuse me. And also available, and that's on, by the way, Amazon, MP3, iTunes. Also, there still is the physical CD, and by the way, that CD at one point reached number 5 here on the North American store on Amazon. Number 5. Not total, unfortunately, but in one of the musical categories. I think it was the chamber music section. One thing I also noticed over the course of this summer was, or of course this year, was Western music is still very popular in Japan. Do you know how many reissues they do of those things? I think they're more limited than anything. But recently, in the North American category for top sellers by geographical region, Supertramp and their album Breakfast in America. Yeah, Breakfast? What's that? And Rod Stewart's Every Picture Tells a Story were at one point number 1 and 2 respectively in the North American region, which means CDs that we've been purchasing. Now, that doesn't surprise me because they're both really good artists. But it's starting to make me wonder, sometimes overseas, do they take more of an interest in our music, especially our older artists, than we do? I legitimately wonder that sometimes. Because, I mean, like, I'm looking on the top 50. I don't have it open right now, but, and it's, by the way, a daily thing they do. And you got artists like Cream, Supertramp, let me think. I think Chicago, or Boston, no, it was Boston. It was one of those two. But you have all these older artists that appear in the North American Top 50, which, and their reissues from they're being manufactured from over there. I think that's sort of telling when you consider the way music is here. With a lot of younger artists who, let me be perfectly blunt, if somebody gave me most of the CDs, I would probably want to take them out back and use them for skeet shooting practice. So where are we going from here? That's a good question. With artists like Yoshiki being featured on ABC's World News Tonight, and also on CNN recently, and I'm going to butcher this name probably. I'm going to warn you, so if you're a fan of this artist, I apologize. Kyary Pamyu, who is referred to as Japan's version of Lady Gaga, who actually got to appear with Lady Gaga on a Japanese talk show recently. She got featured on CNN. Yes. And now we're starting to see that there's also more ways to get your Japanese music fix, because you have J Mello, which comes on Sunday nights, 6:30 or 7:30 Eastern, depending on daylight savings. And you also have MTV 81. The 81, by the way, is the international code that you would use if you were calling Japan. That's what that represents. Sadly, it's not just my birth. It's also my birth year, but that's sadly not where they got that from. And that show, believe it or not, is it's all the shows on. It's a web-based channel, but it's excuse me. It's subtitled for the non-Japanese speakers. So if Japanese isn't your native language, yes, they do sub that, which is awesome. I actually did. One of the things they showed on there was an interview with a band called The Gazette, who was an insanely popular band here. Matter of fact, over the course of the summer, when Faithless was coming out, that single, and when Komagio's Lewis single came out, they were 1, 2, and 3. Komagio's Type B was a Type A. No, I'm sorry, it was Type A limited edition was number 3. The regular and limited editions, respectively, were number 1 and 2 of the Gazette's single Fadeless in North America. Interestingly enough, however, after an incident that occurred, which became very public on Twitter and Tumblr alike, it almost seems coincidental that the Gazette lost their hold on the 1 and 2 spots in this country anyway. Oh, but don't worry, they got them back once Beautiful Deformity came out in October this year. But they didn't hold it as long as they did with Fadeless, which was kind of surprising. However, Komagio has not exactly experienced the same amount of success. So you see, the reissue of Lily Charlotte within Metamorphosis just came out, and sadly has not cracked the top 50 yet. Although Kaya with the CD Gothic did make an appearance briefly. The highest position I believe was 35. So let's see what that tells you, if anything. It's been a very, like I said, it's been a very interesting year for music, especially in the Asian scene. The Asian music scene, from the CD Japan side, from what I've seen, is showing that we're almost flipping things. The music that came from this country, or that we would more listen to, it seems to be coming from over there because of the fact that with all these reissues now coming out. And they're getting really popular. Which again, what does that say about the music here today? But it also says that the music that comes out over there is resonating over here. With artists like Perfume and the Gazette being two of the most popular acts probably in this particular year. It should also be noted that in the top 100, yes, Lily Shrub Within Metamorphosis did make it. However, I'm kind of surprised, all things considered. It should also be noted, by the way, that if you live in Europe, yes, Louis from Comagio did make #1 a couple times over the course of the summer. And he almost always beat out his former bandmates from Versailles, because they very rarely ever, if ever, got ahead of him. I have the numbers to prove that too, sadly. So here's a question that, as we sit here towards the tail end of 2013. In 2014, that slow trickle that seemed to have started from this part of the world, it's going to start to become more of a deluge, and more Asian artists are going to be covered over here. God, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And then let's say that happens and they start to get more popular. Then what we're looking at is a situation where the American-born or North American-born artists, you better wake up, and you better wake up soon, because people aren't going to take your bullshit much longer. They're just not. That's a fact. Because what's really going to happen is the artists like Kyary, the groups like X Japan, Lorraine, artists like Komashiro, and even Jupiter. Who, by the way, Jupiter, I forgot to mention about them. They made it to the finals of a contest that was being run by the J-Rocker Fan Club USA, and if they won it, well, I don't know who actually won it. It was down to them, and I think Maja Bre. If they won, they would get the opportunity to be shopped around and promoted here in the U.S. Let's think about that for a minute, because I don't know who won. If they won, yeah. Now you see where we're going? So here's the question, I guess. And I don't expect probably a lot of people to talk about this, but what are your thoughts on this? Do you see the future that I see potentially, where we could be seeing the next invasion, except in this case it's the next Asian invasion? The first Asian invasion? Or was 2013 just a mirage? Because think, you have artists like Pamyu, Yoshiki getting media attention. You have Girls' Generation, they won the YouTube Music Awards. Chris Lee wins the P Music Awards. Yeah, a mirage? I don't think so. I think it's the beginning of something bigger. But what say you? Let me know down here. I'll talk to you later.